What's up, fam? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're spilling the tea on one of history's ultimate girl bosses, the one and only Cleopatra. Buckle up because this story's more dramatic than your favorite reality TV show. So picture this: ancient Egypt. The Ptolemaic dynasty is in its flop era. The whole kingdom is a hot mess, and into this chaos in 69 BC, our main character is born, Cleopatra VII. And let me tell you, she was not your average Nepo baby. This queen was smart, like seriously smart. While other royals were just chilling, Leo was busy learning like 9 languages and studying math and philosophy. She had the brains, the beauty, and the ambition. A total triple threat. When she was just 18, her dad, the king, yeeted himself from the mortal coil, leaving the throne to her and her little brother, Ptolemy XIII. Now, ancient Egyptian royals had this super weird, super cringe tradition of marrying their siblings to keep the power in the family. So yeah, Cleo had to marry her 10-year-old brother. Awkward. Ptolemy's advisors were seriously shady. They were whispering in his ear, turning him against his own sister, and basically trying to sideline her. They were like, "Nah, a woman can't rule." They totally underestimated her. They managed to kick her out of Alexandria, the capital city. For a hot second, it looked like it was game over for Cleo. But our girl was a strategist. She wasn't about to let some crusty old dudes ruin her reign. This is where it gets juicy. Enter the OG Roman celebrity, Julius Caesar. He rolls into Egypt, chasing his rival, Pompey. Little Ptolemy's advisors thought they'd score points with Caesar by taking out Pompey and presenting his head to him. Big mistake. Huge. Caesar was not impressed. He was actually disgusted and decided to stick around to sort out the mess in Egypt. Cleopatra saw her shot, and she took it. She knew she had to get a meeting with Caesar, but her brother's goons had the city on lockdown. So, what does this absolute icon do? According to legend, she rolls herself up in a fancy carpet. Some say it was a linen sack, but a carpet is way more extra, and gets smuggled into the palace right under everyone's noses. Imagine Caesar's face when this stunning, brilliant queen literally unrolls at his feet. He was instantly captivated. Talk about a glow-up entrance. They hit it off immediately. And I don't just mean politically, they had a whole vibe going on. Caesar, being the big deal that he was, backed Cleopatra. He helped her crush her brother's forces in a battle, and little Ptolemy ended up drowning in the Nile. Oof. Sibling rivalry, am I right? So, Cleopatra is back on the throne, co-ruling with another, even younger brother, who she also had to marry. It's a whole thing. But now, she had Caesar, the most powerful man in the world, in her corner. They even had a baby together, a son they named Caesarion, or Little Caesar. She took a victory lap to Rome with their son, and she was the talk of the town. The Romans were shook. They'd never seen anyone like her. She was dripping in jewels, incredibly intelligent, and had this magnetic charisma. She was the it girl of the ancient world. But then, disaster strikes. Caesar gets got on the Ides of March, betrayed by his own squad, stabbed in the back, literally. The drama. With Caesar gone, Rome is thrown into chaos, and Cleopatra has to dip back to Egypt, like ASAP. Her Roman holiday was officially over. Rome splits between 2 main guys, Caesar's adopted son, Octavian, and his top general, Mark Antony. Antony gets the eastern part of the empire, which includes Egypt. And you know what that means? He needed to meet with Cleopatra. Antony summons her to Tarsus to answer some questions. But Cleopatra wasn't about to show up like some basic subordinate. No, she sailed in on a magnificent golden barge with purple sails, dressed as the goddess Venus, surrounded by attendants. The whole scene was so breathtaking that Antony was instantly smitten. He was supposed to be grilling her, but instead, he ended up following her back to Alexandria like a puppy. They were the ultimate power couple. They partied hard, ruled together, and were genuinely in love. They had 3 kids and lived their best life in Alexandria. For a while, it seemed like they were unstoppable. They were couple goals before hashtags were even a thing. Antony even started giving Roman territories to Cleopatra and their children, which, you can imagine, did not go over well back in Rome. Octavian, who was back in Rome, was watching all of this and getting big mad. He saw Antony as a simp who was completely bewitched by this foreign queen. Octavian launched the most savage PR campaign in history, painting Cleopatra as a dangerous seductress who was trying to take over Rome. He twisted the narrative and turned the Roman public against them. It all came to a head at the Battle of Actium in 31 BC. This was the final showdown, a massive naval battle between Octavian's fleet and the combined forces of Antony and Cleopatra. Long story short, they lost. Badly. Their fleet was destroyed, and they had to flee back to Egypt with what was left of their army. The vibes were officially off. Antony heard a false rumor that Cleopatra had died, and he was so devastated that he fell on his own sword. Classic tragic hero move. But he didn't die right away. He was brought to Cleopatra's tomb, where she was hiding, and he died in her arms. Can you even imagine the heartbreak? It's like the end of a Shakespearean tragedy, but for real. Octavian and his army marched into Alexandria and captured Cleopatra. He planned to parade her through the streets of Rome in chains as the ultimate trophy. But Cleopatra was never going to let that happen. She was a queen, and she was going to go out on her own terms. No one was going to humiliate her. So, in her final legendary act of defiance, she decided to end her own life. The story goes that she had a poisonous snake, an asp, smuggled to her in a basket of figs. She let it bite her, and she died, a queen to the very end. She was only 39. After her death, Octavian, who would later become Emperor Augustus, had her son Caesarion hunted down and killed. He couldn't risk a potential rival to his power. And just like that, the Ptolemaic dynasty, which had ruled Egypt for 300 years, was over. Egypt became a province of Rome. Cleopatra's story has been told and retold for 2,000 years, and a lot of it has been filtered through Roman propaganda that painted her as a villain. But when you look at the facts, you see a fiercely intelligent and capable ruler who did everything she could to protect her kingdom and her people in a world dominated by men and Roman power. She was a political genius, a master of languages, and a commander of armies. She wasn't just a pretty face, she was a force of nature. She played the game of power and almost won. She really was the last queen of the Nile, an icon, a legend. And that's the tea on Cleopatra. What a life, right? Let me know in the comments what you think about her story. Was she a hero, a villain, or just a survivor? Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more historical deep dives. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.